GoGold Resources has released their much-awaited feasibility study for their Los Ricos South project. And well, the results are mixed. While the numbers posted by the study were positive, investors appear to have wanted more from the report than the company was able to give. And that is despite the company using elevated spot prices relative to some recent reports by peers. All right, folks, let's dive in. All right, let's start with the high level. The Los Ricos South feasibility study outlined a net present value of US $355 million on an after-tax basis, along with an internal rate of return of 28% in the base case scenario, while using a discount rate of 5%. The payback period is estimated at 2.6 years. The study is based on a planned operation at Los Ricos South that would amount to a 2,000 ton per day operation that runs for a total of 15 years. The operation is expected to be a combination of underground and open pit, with the underground portion to operate for about 12 years, while the open pit portion will begin to be mined in about year 10. Over the life of the mine, it's expected that 80 million ounces of silver equivalent would be pulled out of the ground, which amounts to 41 million silver ounces, 424,000 gold ounces, and 11 million pounds of copper. For those trying to do the math on what the operation would look like on an annual basis, the mine is expected to produce about 7.3 million silver equivalent ounces every year for the first 5 years of the mine's life, based on estimated recoveries of 86% of silver and 93% of gold. The study, meanwhile, is based on a base case scenario of $26.80 an ounce silver, $23.30 an ounce gold, and $4 a pound copper. At spot prices of $30 an ounce silver and $26.08 an ounce gold, which is where the two metals were trading at the time of the feasibility study being announced, the net present value jumps up to about $469 million on an after-tax basis. The IRR sits at about 34% at those spot prices. Again, that's using a 5% discount rate. All right, so what are the financials projected to look like here? Initial capital costs of getting the mine up and running are estimated at being around $227 million, which includes a 10% contingency of about $21 million. The big expense here is obviously direct costs associated with constructing the processing plant, which are estimated at $83.5 million, followed by underground development costs of about $51 million. Sustaining capital costs, meanwhile, are pegged at $99.7 million, which again includes a 10% contingency. The big expense here is underground development, which eats up the bulk of sustaining capital expenses at $62.8 million. All in, Los Ricos South is expected to have $326 million in capital requirements over the life of the mine. And on a per ounce basis, cash costs are expected to come in at $11.59 per silver equivalent ounce once the mine is up and running. All-in sustaining costs, meanwhile, are estimated at $12.78 per equivalent ounce. Those per ounce numbers, obviously, are the expected averages over the life of the mine. Overall, all-in sustaining costs are expected to be below the $13 per equivalent ounce range until about year 9, when a change in the mine's plan and declining grades will drive AISC to as high as $16 an ounce over the remainder of the mine life. As part of the feasibility study, GoGold also released an inaugural mineral resource estimate for Los Ricos South, while also updating the mineral resource estimate. In terms of proven and probable minerals, the project is estimated to have 47.8 million ounces of contained silver, 457,000 ounces of contained gold, and 23.8 million pounds of contained copper, which translates to 90.7 million ounces of contained silver equivalent. Of those reserves, 78.8 million silver equivalent ounces are contained within the underground model, while 11.9 million are contained within the open pit. On top of that, the current mineral resource estimate outlines a further 57.2 million silver ounces, 549,000 gold ounces, and 28.1 million pounds of copper within the measured and indicated category, which equates to 108.6 million silver equivalent ounces. The project also has further inferred resources of 7.5 million silver ounces, 79,000 gold ounces, and 13 million pounds of copper, or 16.2 million silver equivalent ounces. The mineral resources are categorized into 3 sections, including pit-constrained, pit 0C, and out-of-pit. What all this amounts to is that it basically means that Los Ricos South will have a mine life beyond 15 years, considering that further exploration will likely be completed as a means of moving those resources into reserves. All right, let's get into the investor response, or the lack thereof. Investors overall seem rather unimpressed with the results. For reference, the study results were released on January 16th, the day before the equity closed at $1.41 a share. 5 days later, and it's actually trading down slightly at $1.39. Well, 1.4 million shares traded on the day of the announcement. It ultimately closed red on the day. Well, there were a few positive comments on the boards, such as Goldbug, who suspects the company will be worth billions, not millions, once the mine is up and running, and Cush Caliber, who said it's almost time to jump in again. The reality is that there was a lot of chatter, but not a lot of fresh interest from the release of the study. Tin summarized it nicely by stating that there are people simply looking for exit liquidity events to take profits. And so goes it in the mining sector. All right, so let's wrap it up. So where does GoGold go from here? Well, the company is currently expecting that it will receive the permits for the underground portion of the mine by the end of this March. After that, they'll need to secure financing, although they say they are in advanced discussions with prospective lenders for what remaining capital is required for construction. Have you ever really heard a company say otherwise, though? Anyways, they currently claim they intend to make a formal construction decision and begin building this mine once the permit is in hand. And given that it's the end of January already, that means a decision could be made by the midpoint of this year, provided their timeline is correct. Beyond the imminent construction, GoGold also intends to conduct more near mine exploration this year, while they anticipate advancing Los Ricos North later in the year. Time will tell. All right, everybody, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please smash that like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. Also, guys, let us know if you have any thoughts on this company in the comment section. Thanks, everyone.